Welcome to the Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast, the show designed to serve you up evidence-based sports nutrition advice from the experts. Hi, I'm your host Taryn, accredited practicing dietitian, advanced sports dietitian, and founder of Dietitian Approved. Listen as I break down the latest evidence to give you practical, easy to digest strategies to train hard, recover faster, and perform at your best. You have so much potential, and I want to help you unlock that with the power of nutrition. Let's get into it. Are you struggling with three-thirty-itis? Now, if you have no idea what three-thirty-itis is, it's that time of that afternoon. It often happens around 3 p.m, 3:30, around there, where you get this afternoon slump. Like you're just really tired, you feel like you need a nap, and often we've got to work, so we can't nap. And so we tend to try and fix a situation with food. You might really crave sweet in this window of time here, and your body's kind of sending out these messages saying, grab some fast-acting, easy to digest sugars to give me a bit of a spike. Maybe you're somebody that reaches for an extra coffee in this time frame, again, to kind of get you through that slump. You're using caffeine to mask the problem and what's actually going on here. Or you might be somebody that through this window of time in the afternoon, you just can't stop nibbling. Like you're reaching for the cookie jar, you're trying to grab some nuts and just continuously nibbling on those until the whole packet's gone. So whatever it is for you at this window, chances are there's something not quite right with your nutrition earlier that's causing you to feel all these things. Now, it's really hard for me to give you something specific and one thing to fix it without knowing what you're doing, but I'm going to throw some ideas your way to help you avoid this afternoon slump. And because I love using athlete examples, I'm going to sprinkle a few of those in here too, if that's okay. And if it's okay with you, at the end of today's episode, what I want to show you is how you can get help implementing all of these things so much faster. So you can get off Dr. Google and stop winging it when it comes to your nutrition, trying to figure it out for yourself. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with lunch and work backwards into the morning time to see if there's some things that you can kind of pick up and fix with your own nutrition as we go. So if you're feeling like this in the afternoon, 3 p.m-ish, then there's probably something in your nutrition leading all the way up to that we can fiddle with and tweak to make that afternoon time period so much better for you. So let's start with lunch. Is your lunch nice and balanced? Or did you get scared and cut carbs right back or even out here in this meal? Unless you're completely sedentary and you're lying on the couch all day, then you're going to need to include some carbohydrate in your lunch meal, no matter what type of training volume you're doing right now. Now, your lunch meal is going to be something that you need to dial in for you and whatever you're doing. It needs to be periodized to your overall training program. And that's something that we really dive into inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program is how to specifically do that. One of the athletes inside the program, Lisa, I know I've used her example before, but it's a really good one. Her lunch meal just didn't have enough protein for what she needed. She wasn't actually full and satisfied from eating lunch, and she would always reach for a packet of chips in the afternoon to get her through three-thirty-itis. So have a look and have a think about your lunch meal. Is your plate perfectly formulated and designed for what you need at that time? If it's missing a key macronutrient, then put it back in there and see what happens in the 3:30 window. Going back further into the day, what does your morning tea or, snack in that between breakfast and lunch window look like? Do you have one or do you not have one? Do you need one or do you not need one? And if you are eating here in this snack opportunity, is it the right mix of things for what you need as well? One of the busy lawyer athletes I worked with, every afternoon, she went for an office break to go to the corner store and buy a Mars bar to help get her through three-thirty-itis. Now, she didn't have a morning tea whatsoever because she was trying to force her way between breakfast and lunch because she thought missing out on calories here was the right answer. But it was setting her up to fail after lunch because she wasn't eating enough in that morning window. She also had a really crap breakfast. So she started the day on the wrong foot from waking And that resulted in every afternoon putting a whole heap of calories down the hatch where she didn't need it. Which moves me on to the next bit. What does your breakfast look like? Is it a recovery meal after a training session that morning? And is it perfectly formulated to tick the right boxes for you? Now, recovery nutrition is a big topic that I could talk about for at least an hour just on this one key thing. If you are a Brisbane-based local triathlete, I am running a workshop in January on the 21st, all about recovery nutrition and getting that right for you. So if you are local or happy to travel a little distance, make sure you check that out and register before seats fill up. dietitianapproved.com/triathlon workshop. Now for you with your recovery breakfast, missing things here is a huge factor in how the rest of your day shakes out. So if so far you've been listening and you're like, yeah, lunch is fine, my morning tea snack is fine as well, or I don't need it, or whatever's going on, then have a really deep look at what your recovery meal is or your breakfast is and see if there's something that we can tweak and evolve here. One of our lovely listeners, Penny, literally needs a nap every single day. Now, she knows that she needs to work on her morning nutrition and she's going to do that in 2023, but it's because she's not doing the right things in the mornings around her training session that she feels like that every day. So Penny, if you're listening, this is your kick in the butt to get your nutrition sorted once we hit January. You're welcome. So does your recovery breakfast have enough carbohydrate for you? Does it have enough protein for you? Does it tick all of your other recovery boxes that you need? Do you have no idea what any of that means? If you don't have a perfectly formulated recovery breakfast for you, then you need one. Stat. So you might want to consider joining the Academy program in January when we open doors, because that is the very first topic that we cover to make sure you get that right and it's dialed in for you. Moving further into our morning, have you done a training session and what was your nutrition during that training session? It is again another huge topic that I could talk to you about for over an hour, but it depends on what type of session it is. I don't believe you should be throwing the same amount of fueling at every single session. There's no blanket approach. You really need to periodize your during training nutrition to where you're at too. Where are you in your season or your off season? What are you trying to achieve in that session? Is it a performance goal or is it a just let's get through this thing? Are you trying to drive some fat loss? Are you really trying to fuel for performance? I truly believe you need to be way more strategic with your nutrition than you probably are at the moment. And so thinking about that a little bit more deeply and getting some education around what you need is really going to help you be more strategic with your nutrition and perform way better to what you're truly capable of with just a few tweaks. Sometimes really underfueling a session can set our day up really, really badly. We can dampen that a little bit with our recovery nutrition and what we're doing for our subsequent meals, but sometimes you can put yourself so far into a hole that there's no escaping that. And so we just need to be careful around those types of sessions if that's what you're doing on purpose. Know that and work with that so that everything else is kind of dialed in right. Or if you've done that by accident and you've bonked or hit the wall and you've got absolutely nothing left, then there's definitely a key area that you need to focus on with your nutrition if you want to be maximizing your performance. Are you a triathlete sick of fumbling around in the dark with your nutrition? Is nutrition the missing link in helping you reach your goals? And do you want to maximize your training efforts and level up your performance? Of course you do! Come and join me for free at Fuel School. It's a free 3-day live and online nutrition training week. And I've designed it to give you the nutritional edge in 2024 and lay the foundation of your day-to-day fueling and race nutrition. It's on the 14th to the 16th of January, 9 a.m. Brisbane time, so Australian Eastern Standard Time every day, which is 3 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. CST and 6 p.m. EST on the 13th to the 15th of January. To register, head to fuel.school, www.fuel.school. Whether you're a seasoned triathlete or just starting your nutrition journey, this free event is your opportunity to learn from an advanced sports dietitian and triathlon nutrition specialist and transform the way you approach your nutrition for 2024. Fuel.school, it's free. I'll see you there. Further into the morning, What was your pre-training nutrition? There is no blanket you should do blah before every single session. Again, it's another area that you want to periodize. Rather than doing all sessions one way, think about, the key focus of that session, your goals. Is it performance or is it not really? Where are you in your season? What are we trying to achieve here? And then layer in your nutrition approach before training to suit that as well. One of our academy athletes, Denise, wasn't doing a very good job with her fueling before, during, and recovery nutrition before she started our program. She wasn't meeting her body composition goals. She wasn't feeling great in her sessions. And I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but she's probably drinking like 15 cups of coffee a day to survive. What we've been working on is getting her food and fueling right around training and reducing her caffeine intake as well, which has probably become a bit more habitual than need over time. But getting that right around training is where I think you get the best bang for your buck. And if we do a good job here, it really sets up our afternoon window so much better. It's really common for triathletes that I see to scale back through that morning. They think that, cutting carbs or cutting calories and trying to restrict food around training is going to equal fat loss. But it doesn't. It never works. Sometimes eating a bit better around our training sessions will help set up our afternoon window for success so that we aren't reaching for the chips or the cookie jar or going for a walk to get a Mars bar or drinking our 20th cup of coffee for the day to get through. So I'd encourage you to think a bit more globally around your nutrition to fix that afternoon window. That's what you would have a look at for that day. But then you also need to go a bit more big picture and think about, what did I do the day before? Or what have I been doing for those previous weeks that's setting me up for this in the afternoons? Am I just chronically underfueling? And so I'm just constantly tired and constantly starving. Have I had a massive weekend of training and I haven't fueled and refueled properly? And so it gets to my training week where, I probably am working. I'm probably doing some double session days in here and I'm just ravenous and wrecked. There are so many things that you can get wrong with your nutrition, but there's also so many things you can get right if you just have a little bit of knowledge and understanding about why you need to do certain things. It's not difficult, but you can waste so much time trying to figure this stuff out on the internet. If you want me to fast track you and just lay out the law, say this is what you need to do and why, and I'll show you exactly how to do that for yourself, then you might want to make sure you've got your name on the list for the wait list for our academy opening in January. Doors will open on the 21st of January and we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to come up with a specific plan for you for your recovery nutrition on week 1, day 1. Then we're also going to make sure you have a plan that's specific for your pre-training nutrition and making sure that is periodized to what type of session it is that you're doing. There is no one size fits all with triathlon nutrition, and there is no blanket approach to doing the same thing constantly. Let's think a bit more strategically about what we're doing rather than just blindly following well-meaning but maybe misaligned advice from our training buddy or our coach or some random blog I've read on the internet. I'm also going to show you how to build out your meal plan to periodize it to your training program so you know exactly what to eat for lunch on particular types of training days. I'm also going to teach you in phase 1, in the first 8 weeks, you're going to have a plan for what you're doing in sessions as well. So on the bike and on the run. Something that a lot of triathletes have actually no idea about. They follow the advice on a gel packet for how many gels to have in an hour. They have no idea what ingredients are in their products. They have no idea what sort of targets they need to hit. There is so much noisy advice out there, and I want you to start the year strong with some evidence-based nutrition support so that you can stop wasting so much time trying to wing it on your own. So if you struggle with 3:30-itis, stop for a second and think back to what you've been eating for the whole beginning of that day. How's your front-end day nutrition looking? And is there something that you could tweak there and see the result in that afternoon window? One of our academy athletes, Kelly, he is retired and does pro hours. So he does all of his training in the morning. He has a sleep in, can get out there in the beautiful part of the day. And before the academy, he was needing a nap all the time in that afternoon window. And hey, he's retired. He can do whatever the hell he wants. But now he doesn't need that nap. He can spend that time so much more productively doing whatever the heck he wants because he's got all the time in the world. I'm very jealous. But a good yardstick that you're getting this right is that you have energy in the afternoons. You don't have a slump. And that's a really good indicator that your fueling and nutrition around before, during, after your training sessions is somewhat close to right for you, which is excellent. If it helps, actually write down what you're eating for a couple of days and see if there's any holes that you can see by yourself that are just staring at you in the face. For me, it's really easy to look at somebody's food across a week and see really quickly things that need to be fixed to help them feel better and perform better. But for you, it might take a little bit of thinking to go, what is actually wrong here? Why do I feel like this? Sometimes you just need an external eye or external brain to look at it and go, oh, that's an easy fix. You need to do blah, and it's done. And then you're off again. And that's something that we do in Power Hour inside the Academy program. My athletes have me live every week so they can ask those questions, show me what they're up to, and we can fast track them through that so that they're not mucking around and wasting time winging it with their nutrition. If you're looking at getting some help come January, I am running my online triathlon nutrition training camp again. It ran in September this year and oh my goodness, it was so much fun. But that's all set up ready to go for January. It's going to run from the 23rd to the 25th here in Australia. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it'll run your evening the day before. So Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. Head to dietitianapproved.com/camp to check out all those details. But that might be a really good kickstart when it comes to our new year nutrition so that we're doing the right things and laying the right foundations rather than doing weird things come January and that New Year's resolution vibe. All the Christmas stuff is up in the shops now. Christmas music is being played. I've seen full-blown houses dolled up in all their Christmas festivities already. It's November. It is crazy. But I think everyone's just ready for this year to end and the celebrations to begin. So if you want some help, there's a couple of places to get it if you're thinking about it. Get yourself organized now before the chaos begins. Register for my online training camp, dietitianapproved.com/camp. I'll pop the link in the show notes. And make sure you chuck your name on the waitlist for the Academy too, if that's something that you're thinking about doing in the new year as well. dietitianapproved.com/academy, and I'll pop that in the show notes too. All right, thank you so much for listening today. If you are really struggling with 3:30-itis, I hope that has given you some tips to see if you can try and rectify it yourself. But hey, I'm always here if you want my help to do that too. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast. I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or want to share with me what you've learnt, email me at podcast@dietitianapproved.com. You can also spread the word by leaving me a review and taking a screenshot of you listening to the show. Don't forget to tag me on social media at dietitian.approved so I can give you a shout out too. If you want to learn more about what we do, head to dietitianapproved.com. And if you want to learn more about the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program, head to dietitianapproved.com/academy. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to helping you smash it in the fourth leg. Nutrition!